welcome to another edition of PowerCore Productions and Podcastings. And in today's video, we are now in the final part of the Momoshiki arc in Naruto Polaris, The Fallen Star, What If Hanabi Hyuga Was Born First, Part 28. As we now reach the final part of the Momoshiki arc, many of you might be wondering, well, what's going to be next for this series? I am pleased to announce that the next arc in this story will be the Time Slip arc. However, before we go into the Time Slip arc, which will come out at a later date and time this year, I am happy to tell you all that we are going to be doing a special movie for the Naruto Polaris series that is going to be taking place next week, along with a special OVA, which will be the final installment in this series for the time being. But again, we will continue it at a later date and time. For everyone who has supported this series since the very beginning, I want to say thank you all and stay tuned for everything that's going to be coming now and in the future. I have a lot of cool stuff and a lot of ideas planned, so I hope you'll stick around. And if we have any viewers who may have lapsed off, you're always welcome to come back and join in the story because you never know where it's going to go next. But anyway, without further ado, let's get into today's video. So as always, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Boruto would slowly awaken, finding himself in a hospital bed, surrounded by others who were injured and in the infirm. Himawari, Hideo, both by his side, as Neji would join not too long after to check on his nephew. Boruto would get the full extent as to what had happened. When Momoshiki Otsutsuki and his allies attacked, Naruto used the power of the Nine Tails to shield and block most of the shockwave and the damage that could have occurred to the village. With the help of Sasuke and of Hanabi, they too were also to relegate most of the damage, stopping any of the worser of the attacks from doing any more damage than it already could have. However, Naruto had seemingly disappeared in the process. Boruto comforted his sister as he would examine the damage that had been done along with everyone else. Eventually, Boruto would find himself walking to the Hokage's office. Standing outside of the door itself, Boruto for a moment hesitated to walk in. However, as he did so, he felt a cold and darkness enveloping him. The emptiness of the office itself. His father, the Hokage, who had now gone missing. As he looked out of the window, he could see the faces on the Hokage monument, his eyes drifting from Hashirama to Tobirama, to Hiruzen, his grandfather, Minato, to Lady Tsunade, to Kakashi Hatake, and then upon his father. For Boruto, the idea of Hokage, the title in and of itself, it was something that never appeased him. Even now, in the midst of everything that happened, it was still not something that he overly relished. Even though Boruto completely understood the need for the Hokage, why the Hokage did what they did, and why they were the way that they were, for sometimes it was hard for him to wrap his mind around the idea of wanting to see the whole village as one's own family. Boruto looking at the coat rack and seeing the old orange and blue jacket that was worn by his father as he held it in his hands. I haven't seen that thing in forever, Boruto would hear from another voice as the door opened, to see it were none other than Sasuke Uchiha, his newly found master. Sensei. So, I take it you understand your father a bit better? Kinda. It's just... Sometimes I don't get it. Why does it have to be him? I mean, I'm probably selfish to say, but why does it have to be him? It's the same with how it was for my grandfather. In the end, what does it even mean to be the Hokage? All it is just suffering for everyone around. I mean, in the end, does anyone really even understand him? What he goes through? How he feels? To everyone, my father's just the Hokage. Hokage this, Hokage that. But in the end, I just feel like that no one will understand him the way that you do. To a degree, you're right, Boruto. Being the Hokage requires sacrifice. It requires going above and beyond for the village. And often than not, you don't get the thanks or the praise for the minute of things. Honestly, the true tenure of a great Hokage is one that is hardly praised but is overly criticized. But I'd say your father took criticism in stride when he was younger. There was a time when the village despised him, hated him because of who and what he had become. And yet even still, your father found a way to overcome. With help from your mother, of course. With Mom? Your father wouldn't be where he is today if it wasn't for the support of your mother. Every time he tried to cut class or goof off, she was always there to keep him in check. And as much as he tried to escape, he could never get out of the school because she always hunted him down with her Byakugan. Boruto would laugh at this comment, imagining his young father trying to run for his life to get out of the academy, only to be dragged back into class by his mom by the collar. Even still, it festered a determination in him. It's allowed him to grow as strong as he has. Even if it's not easy, the soul of a shinobi is something that will never change. Ninjas are those who endure. They face the trials, no matter how tough, no matter how severe. And they always see things through till the end. That is the mark of a true shinobi. One that your father and your grandfather wore well. And it's something that I believe lies within you. I asked you once before, what do you want to do with your life? Who do you want to be? Boruto thought about it for a moment, as he looked towards Sasuke, holding the jacket. Honestly, it might be crazy for me to say this, but I want to be a shinobi like you. Like me. I mean, it's just that as much as I respect my father, as much as I respect the title of Hokage, it's not something I want. If I could be like any shinobi, I'd want to be like you. Like Jiraiya Sensei. I want to help people wherever I can, if I can. Doesn't matter what village they're from, or wherever they are, or whatever background they've lived. If I can do something for others, then I want to do it. I don't need to be a Kage to do that. I see. Sasuke reached under his cloak as he pulled out an old headband of his, with a slash across the forehead protector. What's this? It's my headband. I want you to take it. It's a symbol that you're my student. And if anyone's going to inherit my will, then I leave it to you. Boruto would remove his own headband, placing on the one of his master, as well as the coat of his father. The door would open once again, Hanabi stepping in along with the other Kage. Mom? Boruto? Hanabi would be surprised for a moment looking at her son, almost seeing the afterimage of his own of his father in a way, filling her with a sense of nostalgia and renewed vigor. Have you heard from the Sannin? Lord Orochimaru, Lord Tsunade, and Lord Jiraiya are all being accompanied by Dosu. They've begun their hunt for the one known as Urashiki Otsutsuki. It appears he did not travel to the other dimension with the one known as Kinshiki and Momoshiki. I see. That's one less Otsutsuki to deal with. I think we can leave it in their hands for now. Wait, where are you going? Boruto would ask. I can sense your father's chakra. It's faint, but it's in another dimension not too far from here. We're going to go bring him back. The other Kage would agree to join Sasuke, along with Hanabi. As they set off, Boruto would wait behind them until Sasuke ushers for him to come forth, wanting to bring his student along. Of course, Hanabi was not entirely on board with the idea of bringing her son to this potential battle, but Sasuke believed that Boruto's presence might be more necessary than she'd realize. While Hanabi was still not too thrilled about it, at the very least, he'd be with her, Naruto, and Sasuke. If he wasn't safe with the three of them, then he wouldn't be safe anywhere else. They would all stand atop of the Hokage Tower as Sasuke would open a portal to the next dimension, with the group making their way. Sarada, along with Karin, Neji, and the others would all see them off. As they would hop through the portal, Sasuke managing to keep it open to allow the few that could travel with them to go to the next dimension, a quick sprinting shadow would appear, as a few others would join behind. Shikamaru only shaking his head in disbelief. If they were joining, then things weren't going to end all that well. In the meantime, Naruto would find himself tied down as Momoshiki and Kinshiki would continue the extraction of the Nine Tails, a rather mundane and slow process. Naruto had seen better days, but he'd been in worser situations. And besides, he had so much chakra that it was taking them forever to pull all of it out. You are a stubborn creature, Momoshiki said to Naruto. Well, what can I say? We shinobi don't like to go down so easily. Try and resist all you like. It makes no difference to me. In the end, we will have what we've come for. Before he had a chance to finish, Momoshiki and Kinshiki would find themselves under attack. Kinshiki engaging with the four Kage, Darui, Gaara, Chojuro, and Kurasuchi. Chojuro would unsheath the large sword on his back, revealing it to be none other than Samehada, one of the 7 swords of the mist. Now, you might be wondering why Chojuro has Samehada and not his original sword. It's because Samehada is the strongest of the 7 swords of the mist, and as the Mizukage, he believed that in order to amplify his strength to the highest degree, he would need the strongest blade. As such, he chose to switch and master Samehada for himself. Using the blade that could eat away at chakra, he had been storing it up for years now, and it was time for him to unleash the extent of his true power, with Kurasuchi aiding him, along with Darui and Gaara. While Sasuke and Boruto would free Naruto, who wasn't too surprised to see who had come after him, although he was surprised to see that his son was here. Well, it didn't take too long for Hanabi to let loose. Her Byakugan began to glow a teal green as she entered into her Tensegan chakra mode state. Momoshiki would have his hands full battling against the Tensegan user, cursing under his breath at Toneri, a thorn in their side till the end. Although, what fate of works could have allowed for her to awaken such heavenly power? And then on top of dealing with the host of the Nine Tails and the Tensegan user, the one that wielded the Rinnegan had chose to make himself known. Sasuke and Boruto would brief Naruto on the situation. Naruto thankful for the assist as they looked over to see what was happening. Safe to say, Hanabi was not holding back at all against Momoshiki, and Momoshiki was feeling the full fury of a woman who almost lost her beloved husband and the father of her children. Safe to say, Momoshiki was on the receiving end of a 1,000 palm ass whooping. And Kenshiki was not doing too well himself on the other end. With the four Kage working together, they were able to coordinate their attacks against the larger Otsutsuki, managing to restrain and hold him in place. Sasuke would look to Naruto as the two would smile to one another as they readied themselves and joined in the battle. Naruto not even needing to enter into his Sage of Six Paths chakra mode, alongside Sasuke as they all engaged against Momoshiki. The now original members of Team 7 standing tall together as Boruto got a chance to finally watch them in action. As he watched, Sasuke would use the full extent of his Rinnegan abilities. Remember, this Sasuke never lost his other arm. As such, with two arms, he could wield ninjutsu a lot faster, although he had to be careful to avoid it being absorbed by Momoshiki. All the same, Momoshiki would find himself on the receiving end of a massive beatdown, a lot worser than he could have imagined. Without any reservation, he would absorb Kenshiki into himself as he entered into his fused Momoshiki form, a creature with long horns jutting from his forehead in tatters of black and white, golden Rinnegan in both palms of his hand, as well as in the forehead of his eye and his two normal eyes as well. A grand total of 5 Rinnegan. Safe to say, he would not be an easy opponent to defeat. Even with the Kage assisting, Momoshiki proved to be more than effective to hold his own against them. Boruto watched on in horror. His father was still running on only 50% of his true self. Sasuke was already using 1/3 of his chakra to keep everyone within this dimension. That left Hanabi to be the heavy hitter with her Tensegan form. Using the gentle fist, she was able to strike and cause internal damage to Momoshiki, who would have to counter using the full extent of his Rinnegan, calling upon the thousands of years of techniques and jutsu that he had learned, not needing to master, as he gained his power as easily as he breathed. Eventually, though, the heroes would find themselves on the worser end of things. Earlier during his attack, Momoshiki had absorbed the ability of the Shadow Possession Jutsu, and seemingly had the heroes dead to right. Now it was Boruto's turn to step in. Momoshiki was ready to fire a large Bijudama at them, looking to destroy them once and for all, as Naruto, Sasuke, and Hanabi struggled to break free of the Shadow Possession. While they were halfway to doing so, Momoshiki still kept his grip. As Boruto readied a vanishing Rasengan, he would launch it towards Momoshiki. Momoshiki holding his hand in the air ready to absorb it, only for it to disappear. However, true to its name, the vanishing Rasengan would reappear, smacking Momoshiki directly in the face, sending him flying. Now was where more unexpected turns came. Katatsuke, along with other members of the Konoha Science Department, would launch massive jutsu attacks using their scientific ninja tools, looking to once again try to claim some form of glory. Momoshiki only absorbed the ninjutsu and fired it back twice as strong, as was his ability, and it did not make things any easier on the heroes. Finally, as the battlefield became set, Naruto, Sasuke, and Hanabi would surround Momoshiki in a 3-way circle, as Momoshiki stood in the center and smiled. Tensegan Rinnegan, and a feral creature who doesn't know when to give up. Sounds like he described us to a T, Naruto would say. Yeah, I hate people that think they know me, Sasuke would say. You know, for the creatures that claim to have originated with the Byakugan, I seem to use it a lot better than you, Hanabi would chime in. You think so. You got lucky against Kaguya. Although, all the same, I do thank you. It's good that you were able to deal with the traitor before we could. So it is true, Sasuke would say. You've been hunting after Kaguya Otsutsuki all this time. Why is that? As if I have to explain anything to you. Tell me, does the butcher explain anything to the calf before he slaughters it? I don't think so. Does the fisherman explain his actions to the fish before he pulls it out of the water or desperately gasps to go back into the sea from which it came? If the answer is no, then tell me, why should I explain a damn thing to you? It doesn't look like he's going to be talking, Naruto would say, as a golden glow would shine around him. The green-teal color shining around Hanabi, and the purple-violet of Sasuke's Rinnegan, along with the crimson-red of the Mangekyo Sharingan. All three members of Team 7 would ready themselves. Let's teach him a lesson. Hanabi, Sasuke. Right. Yeah. Team 7 would engage against Momoshiki as he told them to bring it. All three of them would move in sync and coordination, each one being able to dodge and cover for the other's weakness. Hanabi would activate the Byakugo seal on her forehead, now entering into her strength of 100 seal Tensegan mode, as she launched the Gentle Fist 1000 palm strike. Momoshiki would try to block each one of the attacks. Out of the 1000 strikes, Hanabi had landed 500. Sasuke would use the chakra chains created by Momoshiki, using a Manotejikara to wrap, instead of himself, Momoshiki. Sasuke would then use the powers of the 6 sage paths as he created 2 extra arms on either side of him. 6 arms in total as he weaved through the hand signs. 6 paths jutsu, flames of the eternal Ashura. All 3 sets of arms would weave through the hand signs for the flames, as Sasuke would use the burning fire style as it went launching towards Momoshiki, whose arms were restrained and unable to block the attack. Naruto would quickly join in. Wind style, Great Wind Dragon Jutsu. The flame of Ashura, along with the wind style dragon, would smash right into Momoshiki. Momoshiki managing to free himself and absorb some of the jutsu as he launched a counter-strike towards them. Hanabi jumping into the air as she used rotation to block the attack. Sasuke would throw a large shuriken, breaking it away into 1,000 tinier ones, Naruto using the multi-shadow clone jutsu to multiply the shuriken greatly. Momoshiki would use his best of skills to avoid all of the shuriken with as much strength as he could muster, while Hanabi would wait for her moment to strike as she ran around in a circle around them, moving fast enough to generate just enough lightning to strike towards Momoshiki. Momoshiki raised his hand to absorb the lightning, but found that he couldn't. It was created naturally, the one weakness to his ability, as he could not absorb jutsu created from nature. Naruto and Hanabi would now work together, the two of them using their skills in taijutsu to keep Momoshiki distracted long enough for Sasuke to use his trump card of an attack, the Soul Dragon Jutsu. The power of the Soul Dragon, wielded by the Rinnegan, would go charging out of Sasuke directly towards Momoshiki. The Soul Dragon managed to snatch Momoshiki's left arm, similar to a fight from long ago, as the third Hokage pulled out the souls of the arms of Orochimaru. So too did Sasuke attempt to pull out the entire soul of Momoshiki. However, even with Naruto and Hanabi aiding him, the best he could do was pull the soul of his left arm. But that would have to do. Sasuke severing the tie, the left arm of Momoshiki would fall limp, as the Rinnegan eye in its palm would close. Momoshiki cursed at them. The soul of his arm was gone. He could no longer use it. Hanabi and Naruto would go in for a finishing strike, as they combined to form a big ball Rasengan. However, using his one good arm, Momoshiki would absorb the jutsu and fire it back. Hanabi attempting to use rotation to block it with all of her strength. However, with the attack being fired back at double the strength from before, Hanabi would find herself on the wrong end of the attack. Naruto picking up his wife and holding her close, as he yelled in anger. Momoshiki would create a large golem beast, but Naruto would respond by summoning the Kurama Avatar, and Sasuke, aiding it by cloaking the Nine Tails in the armor of Susanoo. Together they would form the Blade Chakra, as they would slice down the golem. The fight would be intense, as it was reaching its final stages. Hanabi would need some time to recover. However, the Byakugo seal was taking care of that just fine, and before long she was back on her feet, ready to continue the fight, her Tenseigan form still burning as brightly as ever. Sasuke, along with Naruto, would circle around Boruto. Knowing that he only had one good arm, all they had to do was target that and finish him off. Hanabi and Sasuke would act as the distraction, while Naruto and Boruto would work to take him down. Hanabi would use her speed, being able to get just behind Momoshiki, holding him in place, while Sasuke would attempt to get as close as possible, using a Chidori to strike him. In the meantime, Naruto would amplify Boruto's Rasengan, moving it to a point where it would be the combined father and son Rasengan. With Boruto's ability to make the Rasengan vanish, he was able to blitz Momoshiki. Once Hanabi and Sasuke had been kicked out of the way, Boruto would go charging in, the Rasengan seemingly vanishing in the process. Momoshiki was ready to fire back an attack of his own. Even with one good arm, he figured it would be enough. However, that is where he miscalculated. Hanabi would jump forth using the 8 trigrams, 1,000 palm strikes once again, weakening Momoshiki, as with only one arm, he could not block nearly as many attacks as before. Out of the 1,000 strikes, Hanabi managed to land 950. Momoshiki was on his last legs. Boruto would be switched out at the last second using Amano Tejikara with Sasuke, as Sasuke would attempt to use the Lion's Barrage, kicking Momoshiki straight into the air. Once again, using Amano Tejikara, as Sasuke had flung a kunai high above Momoshiki, he would switch places between the kunai and Boruto. Boruto now re-summoning the large Rasengan, as he slammed it directly into the back of Momoshiki. Momoshiki would wail and cry in pain as Boruto drove the large Rasengan into his back, slamming him into the ground. Just when Momoshiki tried to use the last of his power to resist, behind Boruto, Hanabi and Sasuke would stand, holding on to both of his shoulders amplifying his strength with their own, as they drove Momoshiki into the ground, creating a massive crater. In the process, Momoshiki would be vaporized until there was nothing left of him. As the explosion would engulf the entire area, it felt as though time and everything around them began to stand still. Boruto would find himself floating in midair, in a place among the clouds, and there before him was none other than Momoshiki. "Do you think you've won, boy?" Momoshiki would say. Boruto stood in fear as Momoshiki floated behind him. "You think yourself a man because you managed to strike me down? Your father, while powerful, and your mother and master alike, they are truly foolish. They think that they have made a warrior in you, but really, all they have done is guarantee my victory." "What are you talking about?" "Those who defeat the gods can never live a normal life. But that is something you will learn in due time. No matter how far you go, know that doom will always follow you. And soon enough, those blue eyes will take everything from you. And when that day comes, you'll wish you were dead. You'll wish you had never been born. And when that happens, you will give control to me." The vision would fade as quickly as it appeared. Boruto left in the middle of the crater, his right arm badly burnt up to his elbow, and a mark on the palm of his hand. With the threat of the battle now over, Naruto, Sasuke, and Hanabi would rush to Boruto's side. Unknown to everyone else, Hanabi and Sasuke had saw that time had stopped, and they were able to see up in the air Boruto and Momoshiki. They were fully aware that something had happened, and Boruto would explain what he saw to the best of his abilities. Even though the victory had been theirs that day, there was still an ominous feeling among them. Had they made the right choice, letting Boruto get involved? Or had they doomed themselves to an even worser fate? For now, the only thing that mattered was getting back home, to which everyone would safely. Katasuke would be taken in by the interrogation squad to figure out what the hell was going on with him. Except, Katasuke didn't remember anything. And I mean anything. His fights with the Hokage, his dealings with the feudal lord, around up to a year or so was a complete blank to him. And it was discovered by Ibiki that he had been under genjutsu. This left even more cause and worry, as Naruto spoke with his council. The council consisting of Asuma Sarutobi, Kakashi Hatake, and Might Guy. The elders of Konoha had finally died off a long time ago, and thus a new council had to be made. This was a council from the previous generation before Naruto, of those of whom he trusted. Kakashi would set down his makeout tactics book as he calmly assessed the situation. So, the head of the science and tech department had been under genjutsu. This is definitely troublesome. If someone could have him under control for so long, and he was inside of Konoha, then there's no telling what we could have lost. We'll definitely have to keep our eye out, Asuma would say, as he finished off one of his cigarettes. For now, though, guy would add. We'll have to keep our focus on the defense of the village and stay on alert in case anything else happens. Naruto would agree and would thank the elders for their assistance. Jiraiya, Orochimaru, and Tsunade would return as well, along with Dosu, as Dosu gave his report of everything that had happened. We managed to chase the one known as Urashiki to the border of the Land of Fire, but eventually we lost track of him. We're not sure what next move he's going to make, but he can't stay hidden for long. If there's another Otsutsuki out there, we're going to have to stay on alert. It was noted that there was an attack on the Hidden Cloud. Apparently they had gone after the one known as Killer Bee, the Eight-Tails Jinchuriki. Although thankfully they only managed to steal just a bit of his chakra, and Master B still seems to be in good spirits. Naruto was at least grateful for that. For now though, they'd have to keep on the watch, not knowing who or what could be pulling the strings. Between Katasuke being under genjutsu and the threat of the Otsutsuki, this meant now that they were going to have to put all of their focus into an unseen enemy that would soon be approaching. In the meantime, the Fire Daimyo would also apologize to Naruto. After everything he had seen and everything that had happened, perhaps he had judged the shinobi too harshly. It was time that he too built up more faith, and to build the trust that was going to be needed. Now was not the time for them to be divided. They'd have to stand together to face whatever threats would come their way. Yuto, the son of the Fire Daimyo, would take time to apologize for his actions. Ultimately, he would apologize to Boruto. Of course, with everything he had done to his body, whether or not he could ever actually be a shinobi, he didn't know. But even still, he wanted to try at least. And if Boruto would give him a chance, he wanted to have a rematch for real. To which Boruto would agree. He wanted to see what he could really do on his own 2 feet. In the meantime, Boruto would also meet with Sasuke, along with Naruto and Hanabi. They would tell Boruto to stay alert for now. If anything happened with that mark on his palm, he was to let them know immediately. Sasuke would come back to the village if there were any developments. Naruto, along with Hanabi and Sasuke, would commend Boruto for his efforts. They were proud of him and for how far he had come. And no matter what happened, he would always have their back and their full support. Boruto thanked them all as he readied to return the headband to Sasuke. Sasuke telling him to keep it. After all, it was the symbol that he was his student. Boruto put it away happily, and he would ask Sasuke to train him again when he returned. Sasuke would do so, as long as Boruto remembered to go over the basics once more. And Boruto promised to do so as he ran out of the Hokage's office, joining with the others as he was ready to face the next challenge that would come his way. No matter what enemies or foes, Boruto knew that any fight he went into, he wasn't going into it alone. He had the support of his family, his friends, his sensei, and his village. When you have all of that on your side, then how can you ever lose? In the meantime, in a room shrouded by darkness, silhouettes all stand together as one sits in the chair, all cloaked in shadow, speaking amongst themselves. So, Momoshiki has been defeated, and Kenshiki as well, and the one known as Urashiki has appeared to vanish. This is definitely troubling, Master. All of these threats coming about all at once, especially with the vessel close to completion, This cannot be a coincidence. Indeed not. Tell me, Victor, have you made any progress in the mist? My arrival will be there shortly. I believe with the uprising that's slowly beginning to brew, it will serve as the perfect cover for us to get what we acquire. See to it. The project is close at hand and we are nearing completion. I'm going to need all of you at your best. I do not expect there to be any delays. Is that understood? Everyone would silently nod in agreement, as they all slowly began to vanish one by one, until only 2 remained. Amado. Yes, Lord Jigen. Have you finished the upgrades on Koji? He'll be shortly close to completion, my lord. Good. I want you to deploy him to watch over Victor for me. Do you not trust him? It's not that necessarily. It's just that I have my own misgivings. And for now, I want to keep everything close to the vest. After all, you can never be too careful now, can you? He'll be deployed as you wish, sir. Your dinner's almost ready. What will you be having this evening? I'll take a fine wine, red, and leave the bottle. This concludes Naruto Polaris, The Fallen Star. What if Hanabi Hyuga was born first? Part 28 of the Momoshiki arc. Stay tuned for tomorrow's video as we continue. What if Deku was a Power Ranger? Heroes of the Morphin Grid, Psycho Wars, Part 16. But anyway, that's going to do it for the end of today's video. I'm Javon Harrington with PowerCore Productions and Podcastings. Signing off, and I'll see you next time.